South Hills Church, I'm really excited to have Blair with us today. We get to hear how God used the people in his life to transform his heart. When did you guys start going to South Hills?
17 years ago?
Yeah, about 17 years ago.
Wow.
A neighbor across the street just kind of came over and we were talking and mentioned it, so we stopped over here.
What was going on in your life during all that time?
Oh, geez. I went to college, got married, and was married for 15 years. But at the end, we decided to separate. During the separation, it didn't go well. And it put me in a bad state of mind. And I lost friends. I didn't see my family. Honestly, it just broke me down.
When we were dating, I had to establish a Tuesday night only. You're only allowed to talk about it on Tuesday nights because it was every single day.
Did anybody reach out to you during that time?
Only Dave and Lisa. Most of my friends would scatter. They didn't want to hear about the divorce.
Why would you guys continue to reach out to him?
We love him. He's family. It just never occurred to us not to invite him.
Dave and Lisa invited us to South Hills Corona. We were staying at their house.
You know, just the extension of, hey, we're just going to be there if you want to go, but no pressure or anything like that.
And we loved it.
Yeah.
We were very welcomed here, but then we live in Mission Viejo, and we said, there's no way we're driving to Corona
Love you,
every
but-
week. Yeah.
I totally get it. I wouldn't drive there every Sunday either. But you know what? One church, many campuses.
Absolutely.
We have one down there in Costa Mesa. I know the pastor, it's great. You'll love it. Give it a try.
Once we showed up to the Costa Mesa South Hills, Kathy specifically came and wrapped her
right.
arms around us, and it was amazing.
It was awesome. No, everybody was so friendly. As soon as everybody realized we were new, everybody came and said hello.
It was powerful.
Very powerful.
If you were going to encourage our church and the people sitting and listening to this story today to actually extend an invitation to someone in their life, what would you share with them?
They're your family, they're your friends, so you want to make sure that they get to feel and experience the love of God.
Keep asking, and hopefully eventually.
It's only hard the first couple of times. It comes out in natural conversation a lot, and God is going to provide those opportunities for you. Taking the courage to step out when that opportunity is there is really important, and it's exciting. Some people say yes that you really didn't think they would, and you see lives change, and that's really an honor.
You guys, thank you. I would have never gotten to where I'm at. I would have never made it through what I made it through without everyone supporting me. You never left, which at that time, I'm not sure I would have done as well as you guys. Thank you, because I honestly don't think I would have made it to this path. And I would hate to think what my life would look like if I didn't have this in my life.
Well, thank you guys for sharing your story. Because you guys took the time to share your story, our church gets to hear the power of God. South Hills, so I hope you feel encouraged by this story. I hope you feel motivated to invest into the people's lives that are in your life, and that you would also extend an invitation to someone that may be going through a tough time so they can also experience the joy that Jesus Christ offers.
Now we're continuing our series we started last week. Last week was so uncomfortable. It was the quickest message on record. And if you were not here, we talked specifically about sex. And yeah, that was really weird. It was a very quick message. But today we're going to continue that series. And by the way, really quick, I'm going to take my annual Super Bowl poll. Who wants the Chiefs to win? Who wants the Eagles to win? Okay. Who could care less? Thank you. Because my Rams are not in the Super Bowl this year. So, yeah. But it was actually really cool. I actually got some signed Ram stuff from Leroy Irvin. Thank you so much. Signed football, some cards, and famous Ram. Anyway, anyways, it's Super Bowl Sunday. I'm just kind of looking forward to the commercials, I think, and don't really care who wins. But we're going to continue our series, and this is kind of funny because I'm going to tell you a story from college. Now, what's interesting about this story is it's a true story. I have not seen my buddy in many years, okay? And he just so happens to be in this service while I tell this story because it has to do with he and I. So, and I had no idea he was going to be here today. I really did not when I was writing this, but this is a true story. So if you don't believe me, he's right here. My buddy Brian's right here. So I went to college with him. He was my big brother in fraternity. I love him to pieces. He was best man at my wedding. I was best man at his. We was very, very close, and I'm so stoked that he's here because we've not seen each other in many years. So about that inviting thing, you never know what can happen when you invite someone to church. It's true. But so we're in college, and I'm just getting started, and our fraternity was going to go to Lake Havasu. And they said, we need money, your deposit. I'm like, I'll get to it later. We need your deposit. I'll get to it later. I'm new here. I'm just having some fun, but I'll get to it later, whatever. Finally, I go, okay, I've got my money for the deposit to go to Lake Havasu. They go, well, you can't go. I'm like, why? They go, it's full, right? I'm like, what? The typical 18-year-old, that's not fair. I should go anyway because you should give me whatever I want. So, I got really frustrated. I'm like, that's not cool. They go, sorry. So Brian goes, you know what? We don't need Lake Havasu. We're going to have more fun here than they have over there. I guarantee it. And we're like, all right, cool. So we're in the fraternity house, bored off our butts. We're just sitting there watching TV. And he goes, let's go to Disneyland. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like fun. So we go right up the street to Disneyland. We go to Cal State Fullerton. And we're at Disneyland. It's like, okay, whatever. And I'm still bummed out. And he goes, James, I guarantee you it's not fun. I bet you nobody's even there. So I'm like, okay, great. So we're listening to K-Rock on the radio. And K-Rock at the time had a DJ. His name's Lightning. And he goes, hey, everybody, we are here live at Lake Havasu. And I look at Brian. And I was like on the radio, and I'm like, dude. He goes, Havasu's a big place, and we're having a great time. I'm on this party boat. This is where the party's at. Where are you guys from? Cal State Fullerton, Pi Kappa Phi, baby. I'm like, that's our fraternity. He's on our boat. He's literally on our boat. And so I'm like so frustrated. Oh, man. And we're driving to Carl's Jr., and I'm like, I'm going to Carl's Jr. in Anaheim with Brian, where I could be on this party boat in Havasu. And I was thinking, man, here's the bummer part. We missed out on it, but here's the thing I do know. They're going to come back with all their stories. And then I have to hear all their stories of what we missed out on. And that's like even the bigger bummer. Even Vic went, right? Even he had cooler stories. So it's just like, great, Vic's, So, yeah, this is a great time. Thanks, Vic. Wonderful. Great. So we're back, and I'm like, I've got to hear their stories. And you know what? Valentine's Day is coming up, and I'm willing to guess that some single folks feel the same way about their married friends. Right? I'm going to have to hear about all the romantic things that they did and da-da-da-da-da. And it's not that I'm not happy for them, but it's like I'm going to have to hear all those stories. Maybe he took me to this place, or she took me to this place, or we're going to go to Italy for whatever. It's like, that's great for you, but now I got to hear the stories, and I'm single, and it's just not going to be as exciting for me, and I'm just not really looking forward to those stories. Kind of like my Havasu thing. But what happens is that us married people figure sometimes we have to fix the single people, so we try to give them advice. Like, have you tried an app? Oh, I hadn't thought of that. All I have to do is go on an app and my eternal happiness is there. I'd never thought about it. Or have you tried to go to this thing? Or Christians, this is what we do. I know a church that has a singles ministry, and it's great. Guys, I'm sorry. I have nothing against singles ministries. But you're going to have creepy people everywhere, okay? I mean, I'm sorry. I think people think, just because it's church, all these Christians, you're still going to have creepy, weird people at these singles things, okay? So, but we try to fix you, it's this thing where I got to hurry up and fix you so that you can get married, so then you can be in my married club thing, And for single people, they're just like, gosh, what do I have to do to tell you that I'm okay, that I don't need to be fixed? You see, here's the big thing today for you single people out there, and if you're watching online. Being single is not a disease that we need to cure, okay? It's just not. All right, I got an amen over there. That's awesome. So it's not a disease you need to cure. Paul has a lot to say about this, okay? We're going to pick it up at 1 Corinthians 7:38. He says, so then he who marries the virgin does right, but he who does not marry her does better. And you can say, well, what does he mean by doing better? I don't understand that. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. What does that mean? That means if you're single, embrace your singleness. Do things that you can't do when you're married. Embrace all the passions and the things that you love to do and work on yourself to do all the things that you would really like to do and embrace that time you have. But being single is only better if you embrace that time to do those things. Not just sit back and go, that's not fair, and I wish I had somebody, and so, I'm just so depressed. Instead of doing that, say, I'm gonna go out, and I'm gonna do all the things that I would love to do to make myself better, okay? Now also, he's not also saying that being in a marriage isn't bad, but you have to be in the right kind of marriage that works well. The operative word is works well, okay? I am sure that any married couples would tell you, or people that are single, or maybe people have been divorced, I would much rather be single than in a miserable marriage any day of the week. So he's saying, same thing. God, we just went Pentecostal overnight. Like, it's just crazy. We're going to tambourines next week. So we're saying, like, that works well. You want a relationship that works well. That's the thing. It's not just being in a marriage solves your problems, guys. It doesn't work that way. And Paul is clearly saying that. Don't feel the pressure to rush into one just to be in one. Take your time to find the right one, okay? Take your time to find the right one. So in the meantime, what does a healthy relationship look like? So there's two questions here. What should I look for? And what is it about me that I need to do while I'm looking, okay? So I'm going to tell you a quick story. And it's about a queen, and she's talking to a very eligible son. He's a prince. And she is telling him what to look for and who to be, okay, in this story. Now, a lot of times when we read this passage that I'm about to read to you, you can read that and go, that just seems impossible. Nobody's out there. There's not a person out there that could possibly do this. It's impossible. But it's not really about that, okay? So when we read this, it's not just about finding this magical person. It's also, how are you going to work on yourself to be that person, okay? Proverbs 31:10 says this, a wife of noble character, who could find? She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. She is like the merchant ships bringing her food from afar. She gets up while it's still night and provides food for her family and portions for her female servants. She considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her tasks. She sees that her trading is profitable and her lamp does not go out at night. In her hand, she holds a distaff and grasps a spindle with her fingers. She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. She makes coverings in her bed. She is clothed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is respected at the city gate where he takes his seat among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them and supplies the merchants with sashes. She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. She speaks with wisdom and faithful instruction in her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat bread of idleness. Her children arise and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. Whew. That's a list. I mean, it's like, man, you're going to be a fun mother-in-law, right? You got to be all these things for this prince. But here's the deal. It's not just about what you need to look for. She's also saying, here's what you need to be to attract her. It's not just go and pick her out. You need to be this too if you're going to attract somebody like this. Look at how it describes him. Understands her, values her, needs her, listens to her, trusts her, respects her, celebrates her, releases her, validates her, encourages her, acknowledges her contribution, models respect for his children, and gives her the spotlight. Any single ladies like a guy like that? I mean, yeah, I got some hands. This is a fun series. Okay. Yeah, sure. I like that. That's great. I like that in a man. That'd be great. See, it's not just assigning these stereotypical gender roles, like where you go in the kitchen and I go do this. It's not that at all. It's because a healthy marriage is not based on traditions. It's based on teamwork. It takes both. It takes two people doing this. I'm bringing my best, and you're going to bring your best. Not I'm going to bring my best and then kind of drag you along. It doesn't work that way. Those relationships just aren't healthy, okay? So if you want to be in a healthy relationship, be the person who God made you to be and always look to building yourselves up. So single people, look for these things, and while you're looking, work to become what you hope to find in someone else, okay? So while you use that time, look to find what you hope to find. Right out of college, I was having lunch, actually more dinner with my buddy. We were watching a game, and and so he had been drinking a couple beers already. He had a pretty good sized beer gut. He was a slob, basically. And this girl walked by, and he goes, "I'd have to be really drunk to ask her out." And I looked at him like, "Have you seen yourself in the mirror lately?" You know, he's like, "Well, I'm looking for a girl. She's got to have a PhD. I mean, because I'm a thinker, and I want a really hot girl." And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're still in school, okay? You're not in the best shape. I mean, I don't know if you're waiting for Miss America, who just got her doctorate, to say, "I'm looking for a chubby guy that likes to drink beer and eat buffalo wings all day." Do you know? I'm like, they're so hard to find. I don't know. I'll look. I mean, come on. You got to be what you're trying to attract. You can't just go, "Well, this is what I want, and I'm just going to sit here and do nothing and just be lazy or do whatever." You've got to be that person. If you want to look for that person, you've got to be that person. So that was a long passage. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull out a couple of little verses from that passage so we could break this down a little further. Proverbs 31:10 says, "A wife of noble character, who can find? She is worth more than rubies." Now, who could find? This implies that a search is involved. Okay, so you're actively seeking. Okay, again, it's not going to be like, you know, the person that delivers your pizza is going to be your dream girl. It doesn't work that way. It's like, I was playing video games, she knocked at my door, and she's beautiful, and we got married. It doesn't work that way, right? You got to make sure that you're going out there and looking for that, okay? So it could be somebody that you know already. They could be hiding in plain sight. It could be somebody that you just met, but the point is, you need to be looking for that person, searching for that person. So the first one that we're going to look at is someone who lives with integrity and demonstrates responsibility. Okay, that's the first thing you really want to be looking for. Someone who lives with integrity and demonstrates responsibility. Okay, so you could put kind of a cap on what you could do with your body. You can kind of put a cap on how much money you can spend, but you really can't put a cap on your character. That is something that you can constantly be working at your entire life. And character does matter, who you are. It might not sound as sexy, but it is truly what's going to sustain the relationship. Because even if it is based on looks, guys, looks eventually fade and that character is still there. So you're left with whatever is there. So you got to continue to work on that. It says more precious than rubies. It's incredibly hard to find, but you got to look for it. It's defined by virtue and capability. Proverbs 31:11-12 says, "Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing in value. She brings him good and not harm all the days of her life." Now, what does that mean? Number 2 is someone who makes everything they get involved with better. Have you ever known somebody like that? Whatever they do, they just make it better. That's who you want to be with, guys. That's who you want, especially when life gets tough. You want to be with somebody that's going to make it better. That's going to be an encourager. That when I'm down, they're going to be up, and I can really depend on that a lot. Now, some of you may even been married, and you say, "Well, that's who she was, or that's who he was in the beginning." They were very encouraging, but then after a few years or a while, how do you know if they're just saying that? How do you know if they're faking? Time. Everybody's in such a hurry and rush to, "I got to hurry up and get married." It's like, just take time. See how they are during difficult times. See how they are during maybe a job loss or health issues or financial issues. See how they react to those things. But it takes time. But you really need somebody that's going to be there for you during those really tough times. Melanie and I are not close because of the vacations we've taken or the Disneyland trips you go on. We're close because of those hard times. We're able to really strengthen each other. Proverbs 31:25 says, "She is clothed with dignity. She can laugh at the days to come." Okay? In other words, someone with a reputation for being confident and lighthearted. And I love how it says she's clothed in it. What is she's clothed in it means? It means everybody can see it. It's so obvious that she has this that everybody can see it. And guys, If you've got somebody and everybody else saying, that person's not who you think they are, maybe you should listen to them, okay? When you're clothed in it, it means everybody can see this quality in this person, whether this guy or this girl. Everybody, it's obvious to everybody. You got to be confident and also lighthearted. Now, what does that look like? To be confident, it doesn't mean that you avoid disappointment. That's not what it means at all. But when you're confident, it means you have the strength to go through disappointment. Doesn't mean you're like kind of, well, that's disappointment. I'm going to go around it because I want to continue to be confident. You go right through it. You continue to manage that. Okay? So the pain from our past is what makes us afraid of the future. So basically, don't push the pain down. Process through it. That's confidence. That's confidence. The pain from our past is what makes us afraid of the future. So don't push the pain down. Process through it. Now, you may think, well, what does that have to do with lighthearted? What about lighthearted? What does that mean? When you're not weighed down by worry, you can enjoy life. When you're not weighed by, guys, have you ever been with somebody that's worried all the time? They're not enjoying life. I'm telling you right now. They're not. I can't drive because I'm going to get hit by a car. I can't go outside because I'm going to get, COVID from somebody. I can't go to do anything because something bad's going to happen. I certainly can't get in a relationship because they're probably going to leave me anyway. So they're constantly worried about everything. They're not enjoying life. And if you think you're going to bring them up, I'm telling you right now, you're not. They're going to bring you down. That's how it works. So they're not going to bring you up to this, you're not going to go, I'm going to rescue you, come on up with me. It doesn't work that way. They're going to bring you down. So if they're constantly worried about life, they're going to put that into you. So you got to find someone that's also lighthearted, someone that loves to laugh. You know anybody I know people like that. I can go anywhere and I know I'm going to have fun. If I go somewhere with Xan, we're going to have a blast. She's hilarious. We're all going to have fun. I know it. There's people you just know. If I go with these people, they're going to be fun, all right? They find the fun in the worst circumstances. Proverbs 31:30, charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. In other words, the last one, number 4, someone more interested in pleasing God than presenting themselves well. Okay, like we talked about your character. You got to be attracted to the person. You do. I mean, there's got to be an attraction there. But character means so much more, okay? We all get older. We all get wrinklier. We all get saggier, okay? Character is what matters. You want that in there. You want that to make sure that you're going to put the things that last in there, that's going to continue to go on. Jesus tells us this in Matthew 6:33. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Here's what this means, guys. Seek God first, but also find someone that seeks God first. Okay? Yes, I'm going to do that, but yes, I got to find someone that seeks God first. That is not a judgment on anybody. One of the biggest bummers I see, guys, being in ministry, I've been in ministry for many years, been a pastor for many years. One of the biggest bummers I see is a guy or a girl, and they come to church, and they're on fire. They're getting involved, they're getting into it, and all of a sudden they meet somebody. And I know it's a matter of time before you just don't see them anymore. Well, they don't really like church, and they don't really, or we're checking out a bunch of ones, which is code that you're not going anywhere, and it's just a big bummer. It's just like a huge bummer that you're like, oh man, you had this idea that I'm going to bring this person over, but really it just kind of goes the other way around. Now, I'm not judging anybody, but what I'm saying is I'm telling you this from my personal experience. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. If you're not called, this is the crappiest job you could have as being a pastor, if you're not called. It's hard. It is not easy. You are constantly dealing with disappointment, okay? From people that they're going through major stuff in their life. I live it with them. You think I'm a robot? Do you think I literally can go visit somebody in the hospital that's dying, or visit somebody that's about to get married, or being divorced, or to visit somebody that's about to lose their kids from a custody battle? Do you really think I can just meet with them and then go home and go, what's for dinner? I'm not a robot. I've got feelings. And then when you're in it with these people, it's so hard. But it's not even the only thing. And then you've got to go, we got to find a building. And then you got to go finances. Well, how's this going to get financed? And then you got to deal with all this other stuff. Guys, unless you're called, it's the worst job you could have. I'm telling you right now, there are many times where I'm at the beach saying, that guy selling frisbees, that looks like a fun job. I wonder how much that guy gets paid. You know, it's not easy. There's financial issues all the time. There is stress all the time. It's just not easy. But it's what I've been called to do, and I love it because this is my family. But I'm telling you right now, if Melanie did not seek God first, I would not be your pastor. I would have quit. Long time ago. Guys, I have been kicked in the knees more times than not in ministry. Okay? It's been hard. And I could have said easily, like, this stinks, man. What am I doing with my life? I could be doing that. I'd be happy just doing that and going off. And, you know, and if Melanie was not seeking God first, Melanie would say, you're right. They don't, you know what? You should go do that. You know, if you could make more money and our family would, you know, be more provided for, you could do this. You're right, James. Let's quit. Never. Every time I'm like, I can't do this. Melanie's the one that says, yes, we can. Because we're doing this together. If she did not seek God first, I wouldn't be here. So that's why I'm saying, out of personal experience, not to judge anybody at all. That's not my job. I don't have the ability to judge you. Okay? But it's really more of like, you got to seek someone that seeks God first as well. We all want healthy, lasting romance, but partnership is only as healthy as the people in it, guys. This is only as healthy as the people in it. So don't just look for health in someone else. Build it in yourself. Now, you're saying, well, that's okay. But what if I'm married and it's all his or her fault? What do I do there? That's a good question. Well, you could say this. Am I more focused on finding or changing someone else or working on myself? That's a good question. Focus on yourself first before you go fix everybody. Focus on yourself first. Okay? It's not always fun. It's not always easy because it's so much easier to blame the other person when something goes wrong. What do I need to do and work on myself? So guys, here's the big question. Why would we talk about this in church? Why are we devoting a series to this in church? Because I want to make something very, very clear to all of you. There is nothing more important on this planet while we're here than relationships. Nothing. Some of you could say, well, if I had money, I'd be happy. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Your problems would just be bigger. Trust me. Some of you are like, I'll take the challenge. But money's not going to make you fulfill you, right? Fame won't fulfill you. There's a lot of celebrities that are really depressed. Sad. The most important thing you can have is your relationships. That's why we're talking about it, guys. So you can have healthy relationships. So you can have long-lasting relationships. Guys, we all have problems. I use Melanie and I as an example all the time, but I could easily give you examples of how not to do things because how bad I've blown it at times. So it's a series of ups and downs. It's a series of give and takes. Nobody's got this wired down. We're all in the same boat together. We're all trying to figure it out together. Do not judge me on my Facebook posts, okay? We look like Leave It to Beaverland, but it's not like that, trust me. Melanie's like, amen. So here's the important thing, guys. There's nothing more important than healthy relationships at the end of the day. And how to do that is to take care of your character, because your character is what you're going to be taking to heaven, not your cars or boats or houses or anything else. That's what you're going to be taking with you, okay? So I'm going to give you a visual to this. Do we have that picture? Now, if you look at this picture, it says rich, big house, poor, hut. That grave site's the same size, guys. At the end of the day, the hole's the same size. You've only got this much time to do whatever you want to do. God says you can do anything you want. But if you trust me, I will definitely bless you and bless you after this life is over. But at the end of the day, the hole's the same size, God. No matter how much money you have, no matter how many things you have, no matter how big your titles are, no matter whatever, it all goes away. Your relationships you take with you. That's the important thing. That's what you need to work on. That's what you need to do. And it's best to do it on looking in yourself first. Guys, the best way that I have seen how this works is within the church. The church, this is what the church is not. The church is not a place to judge people. We don't have the ability to judge people. Jesus gives a straight command about that. I do not have the ability to judge you. I just don't, because I got my own stuff to worry about, okay? So it's not a place to judge people. It's not a place to beat information down on them and say, you believe this or you're a terrible person. It's not any of that. What is church? It's a place to grow together as a community. Relationships, guys. Listen, I love that we have an online option if you're sick, if you're traveling, if you can't. But if you're watching online every week, there's an issue with that. Because you don't know what it feels like to hug the people that are in your church. You don't know what it's like to when I see people outside and they're crying together and they're holding each other, you cannot duplicate that online. I hear all the time, I go to online church. I say, that's great that you watch a TV thing, but that's not church. You've got to be in person. I don't want to offend anybody watching. That's not my point. I don't want to do that. But you've got to be in it. And if it's not here, it's got to be somewhere. But you've got to make sure that you're developing those relationships, because when life kicks you in the knees, and it will, you've got to have people that are healthy and that are going to go with you. I didn't say perfect, by the way, because none of us are. But you got to be with people that are going to walk through that with you and be in it with you. Right? And so I never took this job, like as I said before, to be the head of a country club for Christians where we all hang out and tell how great life is. I came here to say, hey, I'm hurting. I'm willing to guess some other people are hurting. I'm willing to guess other people's lives are pretty crappy at times. Let's all get together and let's just trust God the best we can and do the best job we can. Trusting him, knowing he's got the answers, and just having that faith. So when we see these things about on the senior pastor spotlight about inviting somebody, this isn't to build my ego up, to build a big church. It's so that we could get people to come in this community so that they could have what we have. Guys, I have some really bad weeks sometimes, but I got to tell you, when I know that Sunday's coming, I get so excited. Because it's in a couple more days, I'm going to be around people that love me, that are going to encourage me. That's why I stand out there to hug everybody. When you see me jumping around, it's not just because I'm exercising. I'm seriously stoked to see you. I'm like, yes, my friends are here. This is awesome. So you gotta look at that. Guys, one of the coolest things we're doing, and I'm so glad she's in this room, because Kimberly Milo started something at this church so cool. She started a women's ministry where all the women were able to get together and absolutely have a community. And the women that are in there would be the first to tell you it changed their lives, because they had community. Shannon and Cherie took up that mantle and said, we want to do it too. They're sitting right here. Women in our church, come to these events. Is it a Bible study? No, it's a time to hang out. I talk to my buddies. They go, well, do you have a women's event coming up? Yeah, what are they studying? They're studying how to hang out and have fun. Well, they need to be studying one of the books around. No, they don't. Right now, they're hanging out. Of course, we could pull off Bible studies from there, but that's not the point of this. The point of this is to hang out, is to invite people that maybe not want to go to church, people that feel like maybe church is a little too much of a step, but I'll go hang out and have some fun. That's what it's for. And if you're a woman in this church, please consider going to check out. Next one is February 23rd. If you want any more information, put it on the card. Already, we've got, how many women are coming?
22. And we'll be sending out the address today.
Okay, 22. 22, sending out the address today. Great. Awesome. 22 women are going to have a great time. Single guys, you can't go. Sorry. Okay. I'm going to end with this. Proverbs 15:22. And this is great advice. Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they will succeed. Guys, put the right people around you. If you put people around you that are saying, you don't need church, you don't need the Bible, you don't need God, that's going to pull you further and further away. If you're saying people that, it should be more about you and it's all about you, it's going to, and when you have heartache or get bad news, I can't believe they did that to you, they're terrible, what is their problem? And then all that negative stuff doesn't help you. But people that are going, hey, I know it sucks, but I'm here with you and we're going to do this together and I'm going to love you through it. Those are the people you need in your life. People that are going to build you up. And you need those people. Guys, I'm standing here in front of you today because I've got great people, both when I was single and married, that have really fed into my life. We really, really, truly are better together. And, I want to say a special thank you as well because you guys, stuck with this. I had a conversation with Moses a couple weeks ago. You guys stuck with us when literally we had no church. COVID closed us down. Melanie and I had a phone, and that was it. Melanie put the phone up there. Michael came in, sang some songs, and we did it from my living room. I don't know if you guys know this. David too. Yeah, David too. I don't know if you guys know this, but during that time, when I was in my living room, this campus paid all of our bills. You guys gave so that we can continue to be a church, and you didn't have anywhere to go. That's surrounding myself with some amazing people. I want to be with that church. I want to do what they're doing. We're having some more discussions right now. Pray. It looks like early March we're going to get our stuff from the city, and I think it's going to look pretty good. So we're stoked on that. But until then, we're going to keep doing what we're going to do. Nothing's going to slow us down. Let's pray. Father, I just thank you so much that I get to be here with my friends. I love them so much. Their smiles, their love, their character. God, I love what you could do with a bunch of flawed people like us. You could turn it into something very beautiful. We all have stories and baggage and pain and frustration. And you take it all and you turn something beautiful out of it. This church, the fact that we're even standing here, the fact that I hear kids singing and playing outside when they don't even have a room to go to, tells me that you're clearly doing something in this church, God. I want to say, as the pastor here, God, we trust you, all of us, we trust you. And we're thankful for you. We're thankful that we have this community, that we get to be ourselves, that we don't have to pretend that we're something we're not, that we don't have to seem over spiritual or anything like that we can just be us and know that you've taken a mess like me, turned me into a pastor. That's crazy. Father God, I just thank you so much that I get to be encouraged constantly by this beautiful family. Jesus, if there's anybody that hears my voice and that's watching online or even here, and they have not stepped across that line, but they want to know more about you, they want you to enter their life, God, I pray they could just repeat this simple prayer, and that is, Jesus, come into my life, make me a new person in you. I want that eternal home in heaven, and I want you to take control of my life here. And so I'm saying I accept you, Jesus, as my Savior. Father, if we've seen anybody who's said that prayer with me, if there's anybody online or anything, I pray they reach out so we could celebrate with them and talk with them and start this new adventure together with them. Father, we love you and we praise you. It's in your name. Amen.